Well, for more on how this year's Thanksgiving celebrations are being affected by the pandemic, I'm joined by Bobo, the CEO of Futurity. Welcome as always.
Thank you for having me.
So as we know, it's a very different Thanksgiving this year. So talk about ways people can celebrate safely while still feeling engaged with other people in a meaningful way.
Yeah, well, it's very important in a time like this that people do have the opportunity to get together. And this year, actually, more than many, a lot of people are trying to get together to try to recover a little sense of normalcy. However, it's important that we continue to recognize that social distancing is important, and also that not everybody in our community is equally protected. And so while we might want to get together with friends and relatives, and particularly elderly relatives that we haven't seen in a while, it's important to recognize that we should probably still continue to put that off. And so get together with your immediate family, the people you're seeing every day, but continue to be cautious about reaching out to people you haven't seen in a while, because the numbers are increasing of COVID, and we still want to make sure that everybody stays safe.
So then what are people tending to spend the bulk of their money on over this Thanksgiving versus perhaps previous Thanksgivings?
Yeah, well, actually, the numbers are very similar to other years. People are actually spending a little bit more money on Thanksgiving this year than they did last year. And I suspect that that's, people feel like they just need to do something. It's been such a difficult year. And so, more than 70% of families are having the turkey. It's about 60% are having mashed potatoes. Unfortunately, we're not having that here at my house tonight. But you've got the cranberry sauce, you've got corn, you have pumpkin pie is still right there in the top 10 list. So it feels very much like a normal year in terms of what people are putting on the dinner table tonight.
Now, I want to look at, obviously, what's happening in the greater context. We have more than 250,000 Americans who've lost their lives this year, 20 million people out of work, a stalled aid package in Congress, and so much uncertainty, even with more encouraging news about vaccines rolling in. What are the best resources that people can turn to mentally and financially?
Yeah, so that's a really important question. And in terms of financially, there is a limit to the financial aid that is out there. And so much of what people need to turn to are really relate to food resources to make sure that they have enough to eat. And in order to do that, one place that you can look is your local food banks, but also your local food councils. If you go to their websites, you can find a long list of opportunities to help out. Local governments are doing their part to try to make sure that information is pushed out there to people. On the emotional side, though, and the mental side, the CDC actually has some really good information, some websites that are available that you can call if you feel that you're having sort of some mental stress and you want somebody to talk to, you need somebody to talk to, then you can go to those websites and they have a list of people if you're, just emotionally upset, if you're worried about your future. And so there are different programs that are available if you're dealing with substance abuse or other things that might have been caused by the emotional stress that people are under today. So it's really important that people look for and seek out the help they need, and that information is available and they can look it up. Just real quickly, the number for the disaster distress hotline is 1-800-985-5990. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I encourage people to call if they need help.
Now, we know that Zoom will be taking time limits off its video conferencing so that people can spend more time together, even if it is online. How else are you seeing companies doing their part to make the holiday a little less stressful?
Yeah, so companies are doing a tremendous amount. You have some companies that are donating food, that are working in the food world. You have restaurants that are making food portions available, giving away free turkeys. You have other companies that are donating money to the food banks that were mentioned in the right before the program started here. And that's so important because the demand on food resources is at least double, and in many cases much higher than it has been in the past. And so companies are recognizing those needs. Other companies, though, are also just recognizing the challenges that their own staff are encountering and providing more flexibility for their team, recognizing that there may be kids at home that needs extra time and that we need to be more flexible in our workspace.
Just very quickly, have about 15 seconds. What can we as individual communities do to try and support our local businesses or food banks who might be struggling at this time?
Well, definitely go out, and frequent those restaurants. You can order in, and there are lots of opportunities for that. Also consider volunteering. These places are under tremendous stress, and they could use your help. And finally, if it's within your means, please consider donating to some of these programs. They're helping so many people in your community, and perhaps members of your family and your friends as well.